Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, dear participants. My name is Artem Koshelyev. I'm assistant professor of Department of Modern and Contemporary History. And today I will moderate our conference. I think we can begin, and I would like to offer to make your speech, Pani Diana. If you don't mind, please, you can start.
Yes, of course. Thank you so much. My name is Diana Tokarczyk. I am an MA student at the American Studies Center at the University of Warsaw. And if I could share my screen for the... Okay.
Now you can.
Yes, now I can. Thank you. Okay.
We see.
I just was trying to make it bigger.
Please.
Yes. Okay, so I'm going to talk about the usage of the term woke by Republican presidential candidates. In my research, I focused on 6 of the candidates who used the term woke between 2021 and 2023. Because of the limit of the time, however, I'm not able to talk about all of them, so I will focus on the 3 the most prominent candidates, Donald Trump, Nikki Haley, and Ron DeSantis. You know what woke means? It means you're a loser. Everything woke turns to shit, said former President of the United States, Donald Trump, during a rally in Cullom, Alabama on August 21st, 2021. From that moment on, the term woke became widely used by right-wing politicians and political commentators in the United States. Almost 2 years later, on June 1st, 2023, Trump criticized the use of the term, marking the decline in its use. I don't like the term woke. I hear the term woke, it's just the term they use. Half the people can't even define it. They don't know what it is. And not defining the term was helpful for Republican politicians in adjusting it to changing public mood by associating it with topics that were currently stirring up the most emotions in American society. Nevertheless, the analysis shows that the anti-woke rhetoric was initially centered on race. I argue that between 2021 and 2023, criticism of wokeness was a political strategy of Republican presidential candidates to gain white votes. A strategy known as blowing a dog whistle. And a dog whistle is described by Ian Haney Lopez, the author of Dog Whistle Politics, How Coded Racial Appeals Have Reinvented Racism and Wrecked the Middle Class, as speaking in a code to target audience. Politicians routinely do this, seeking to surreptitiously communicate support to small groups of impassionate voters whose commitments are not broadly embraced by the body politic, he continues. Politicians have used this tactic as a way to win elections since 1960s, when George Wallace exploited racial animosity by defending white supremacy in language of state rights. In the first part of my presentation, I will focus on the evolution of the meaning of the meaning of the term woke. Then I will examine how anti-woke discourse was introduced in the United States. And in the third part, there will be analysis of the speeches and interviews of the 3 Republican presidential candidates, Donald Trump, Nikki Haley, and Ron DeSantis. So stay woke used to be a slang phrase in African-American culture. Its first documented use occurred in 1938 interview with Lead Belly about his song Scottsboro Boys, telling this true story of 4 African-American teenagers who were falsely accused of raping a white woman. The term was also used in 1962 New York Times article, "If you're woke, you dig it." William Melvin Kelly seems to have predicted the future of the term woke, since the article describes the appropriation of Black slang words by white people. The phrase "I stay woke" was also later famously used by singer Erykah Badu in her 2008 song Master Teacher. She later explained that the meaning of woke as being aware. But it was not until 2014 that the term got politicized and popularized outside of African-American community. It became widely used in social media during Black Lives Matter protests. And once the term entered the mainstream, it started to evolve and gained competing meanings. Oxford English Dictionary and Merriam-Webster Dictionary illustrate the evolution of the meaning of the term, providing the original definition as well as both positive and negative definitions. And a USA Today Ipsos poll released on March 8, 2023, showed that Americans were deeply polarized over the term woke. 40% of those polled considered woke an insult, while for 32% it was a compliment. And when asked what it means to be woke, the majority said that it entails being informed, educated on, and aware of social injustices rather than being overly politically correct. And as can be expected, the division was largely fueled by party affiliation. While majority of Republicans understood the term as an insult, almost half of Democrats said it was a compliment. Although Trump's racist appeals led him to presidential victory in November 2016, influenced by Jared Kushner, his son-in-law and political advisor, Trump started to reach out to African-American voters. In February 2020, as a part of his re-election campaign, he started to sell merchandise emblazoned with woke and Black voices for Trump. After losing presidential election in 2020, however, Trump blamed it on the strategy to appeal to Black voters and decided to return to well-proven racial pandering. And the same word that was used by Trump in 2020 to appeal to Black people became in 2021 the word used to attack them, starting the widespread anti-woke rhetoric among right-wing politicians and political commentators. Mentions of woke and wokeness soared on Fox News after Joe Biden became the president of the United States. And the critique of wokeness was at the beginning closely connected to the opposition to the critical race theory, which is a theory developed in response to a lack of racial progress following civil rights legislation of 1960s. It points to the fact that racism is inherent in the law and legal institutions in America. Like the word woke, the phrase critical race theory began to appear more often on Fox News after 2020 presidential election. And if we compare the mentions of the two on Fox News, we see that the peak in the critical race theory is almost in the same place as in a case of woke. However, the mentions of critical race theory started to go down earlier, while mentions of woke were still at a high level. The connections between woke and critical race theory was made very often by Republican presidential candidates. It is, however, Ron DeSantis, the governor of Florida, who became the biggest enemy of critical race theory. In fact, critical race theory was banned from being taught in schools in Florida. DeSantis proposed and signed into law Stop Woke Act, where woke was used as an acronym for wrongs to our kids and employees. Pushing for the law, DeSantis said, what you see now with the rise of the woke ideology is an attempt to really delegitimize our history and to delegitimize our institutions, and I view the wokeness as a form of cultural Marxism. During his victory speech, after winning second term as Florida's governor, on November 9, 2022, he referred to the ban of teaching critical race theory with pride, indicating that he successfully fought with woke ideology in Florida. We fight the woke in legislature, we fight the woke in the schools, we fight the woke in the corporations. We will never ever surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke goes to die. This speech connects wokeness to Nazism by an allusion to Winston Churchill's famous 1940 speech, where he said, we shall fight on the beaches, we shall fight on the landing grounds, we shall fight in the fields and in the streets, we shall fight in the hills, we shall never surrender. In the following months, he used the word woke while also employing the war metaphor. Donald Trump also criticized critical race theory together with wokeness. On October 9, 2021, he referred to critical race theory, calling it toxic, bigoted, and woke fascism that will destroy our nation. Similar to DeSantis, he compared woke to fascism and communism, presented it as the biggest existing threat to American people. And just like in everything woke turns to shit speech, he linked woke with loser by blaming the loss of US women's soccer team at the Tokyo Olympics on being too woke. Referring to the team kneeling before the match in a protest to racism, he said, wokeism makes you lose, ruins your mind, and ruins you as a person. You become warped, you become demented. The juxtaposition of weak and woke to proud and strong America was also highlighted by Nikki Haley, a former governor of South Carolina, former US ambassador to United States, and a candidate in 2024 Republican primaries. During the speech she gave on March 3rd, 2023, she said, let's save our country from weakness and wokeness. Let's bring back a nation that is strong and proud. And the idea of bringing back a strong nation can be understood as bringing back white supremacy. And the word back, just like the word again in Make America Again Great Again, can be decoded as a reference to white nationalist nostalgia for the times when white people dominated American culture. Haley also demonized wokeness by calling it a virus more dangerous than any pandemic, and insisted that America is not a racist country. And to everyone's surprise, on June 1st, 2023, Donald Trump criticized the use of the term. It was an attack on his biggest opponents in Republican primaries, Nikki Haley and Ron DeSantis, for the frequent and very broad use of the term. In response to Trump's remarks, Ron DeSantis defined wokeness as the war on truth and cultural Marxism. It's about putting merit and achievement behind identity politics, he added. Nikki Haley responded not with a definition, but examples of situations which she considers woke. Interestingly, all the examples were related to gender. She said biological boys playing in girls' sports and gender pronouns classes in the military. She concluded that woke means all of these things that are pushing what small minority want on a majority of Americans. This shift from race to gender shows that anti-woke rhetoric is also a form of a backlash politics, changing in reaction to social upheaval. And meanwhile, Donald Trump continued his speech with his own explanation of woke, presenting a scenario in which he is the greatest coach of women's basketball in history due to the use of male players. I would say, LeBron, would you like to become a woman? And I would go to another 4 or 5 big guys, and we would be undefeated for many, many years. He referred here to anti-trans sentiments, However, I argue that it was not a coincidence that he used basketball here as an example, a sport dominated by Black people. Trump was not only trying to condemn the use of the term itself by his opponents, but also re-embedding it back into his racist strategy. So the analysis reveals that at the beginning of the anti-woke discourse, the term woke was strictly connected to race, racial justice, and often used as a backlash to critical race theory. While the speeches analyzed cannot be considered openly racist, they are best understood as coded talk aimed to bring out racial animosities. Republican politicians are using here the tactic of dog whistle politics, stimulating strong reactions from one group of people while being inaudible and incomprehensible to the rest. The clear connection between woke and Black was later blurred as Republican politicians started to use the term to address various situations which they wanted to oppose, especially ones considered connected to gender. Using high-volume topics such as anti-transgender sentiments, they broadened the meaning of the term woke. Nevertheless, the term in this broader meaning was still backlash to social justice and equity policies and programs. And thank you for your attention. That's all of my presentation. If you have any questions.
Yes, thank you very much, Pani Diana. Could you please stop
Yes.
your presentation? Okay. Yes. Pane Danilo, do you have a question?
Yes, of course I have. First of all, I'm very extremely grateful to Miss Tokarczuk, Tokarczyk, yes?
Great, yes.
Great, for her excellent research, for her excellent speech, and I have the following question. Is the war in Ukraine included in the discourse of the woke, or it is only about social realities of the United States itself? And well, who knows? Maybe one of the sides of this medal of this like tool woke reflects some issues of war in Ukraine. Maybe you know the answer.
Yeah, thank you for this question. I have to admit I haven't heard the Republicans ever connecting those two issues. However, maybe in the recent months, because I was very focusing on the subject, and like my research was until 2023, and that was the moment, as I also said, after this criticism of Trump in June 2023. It kind of declined. They stopped talking about woke during the debates. There were almost, I think, only once someone said woke. And we know that the Ukraine-Russia situation is like started to be a really big topic kind of recently. Like the Republicans started to be really opposing recently. So I think that's the one thing. The other thing is that I think they would not connect those two issues because specifically because, as I'm arguing, they are connecting woke to Black people. So Ukrainians are not here any useful for them, I think. Yeah.
Thanks a lot. So it's more about inside inside issues, inside politics, and inside sort of discourse.
Yes, that's what I believe. Yes.
Thanks.
Maybe additional questions, Pana Danilo? No?
For now, no. Maybe
okay. I have a little
later.
If you yes, if you don't mind. Firstly, thank you very much for your presentation. And to be honest, I didn't know about this problem. I know about some maybe I would like racist tendency in Trump speeches, but in this problem, I didn't know this problem. And I would like to ask you, it may be a more widely question, why do you think American society is still prone to this radical social rhetoric? We know that anti-racist tendency begins maybe from beginning of 20th century, and we still can see that this trend is not over. Why? How do you think? And if it's possible to overcome it?
That is a very hard question. Yeah, I wish I would know that. I mean, it's a very hard question. This is one of the things that makes me want to research a thing always that I don't really understand why this is happening. And yeah, I'm unfortunately this is really hard. Like, I think the education is the biggest problem here, because it's hard to change the thinking of people if they can't learn about the past. And this is exactly what we see in Florida, for example, right? With the Stop Woke Act, that they can't really learn the racist history of the country, because it is presented as reverse racism, right? So so I would say that this problem of education is here one of the biggest issues, I believe. Yes.
Maybe yes. And how do you think? Could we connect it with the contemporary tendency, like it's nowadays, maybe last several years problem, or it's an internal problem of American society during the maybe last, I don't know, half of a century, or it's just because of Trump's activity?
Yeah, yeah, it's definitely not because of Trump. Trump actually brought a little bit more of openly racist remarks, however, still using the code words, the dog whistle. But as I mentioned in my presentation, the dog whistle, those dog whistle politics started in 1960s. So when this being racist started to be not accepted in public, then the Republicans, and not only Republicans, because Democrats also sometimes tried this tactic, but mostly Republicans started to use it. So it was used through the whole time, right? From 1960s, from the state rights, later with Nixon, with forced busing, with Law and Order, then with Reagan and welfare queens. So it's not like it started with Trump, definitely.
Thank you. It's very interesting, because it's interesting which consequences of this tendency. Now maybe we can observe that today American society extremely separated, and I think this line of separation also connected with this problem. and different parties, they have different rhetorics, and I don't know, this level of I don't know, fight in American society is how do you think? Could we say? Could we think about not only in rhetoric fighting, but maybe like we saw this in 2021 when Trump's I don't know, Trump's who elected Trump's people who support Trump's, for example, they try to this crisis in Capitol, when they caution Capitol, it's impressions of this radicalism. And could we say about maybe the risk of civil, maybe not civil war, but something about this? Because nowadays we have extremely separation society in the United States, and it's not only their domestic politician, because Ukrainian also have a big problem because of it. You know, we don't have supports, we don't have missiles, and it influences very on global politics. How do you think? Which consequences we can observe?
Yeah, well, definitely we can observe that like American society is getting more polarized.
Polarized.
And and it is frightening, and it is bringing like the scare of with this capital situation on January 6th, also like of some civil war. But I honestly don't know where is it going. Like I don't think it's going in to be less of the less polarized the society. So it definitely is going to the wrong direction. I don't know, but the question is how to stop it. But I think this is a very hard question, and yeah, just like with this, like it seems like the politicians are trying to go to furthest to really be more scandalous actually sometimes, and so it's making things worse and worse. But I don't know. I don't think it's going into a better direction, to be honest. Yeah.
Can I add a little bit? As for me, I think Americans now have sort of a lack of self-aiming, because if they have this like aim, where they go, all of them, they will not concentrate on this, bullshit, or how to say. Well, maybe I'm mistaken, but they are just like playing in toys, discussing all this race themes and gender and so. But if we dig deeper into this problematic, we can see the big problems in economics, in social development, and which are hidden. So yeah.
Yeah, if I just may, yeah, I think, but it's a very popular thing, right? Also like I don't know, in Poland, for example, to cover the real issues with the culture war, right? So yes, definitely it is happening, and this is also, I think, like the strategy, right? For Republican Party, for sure, to not talk about economic things, right? To not to just focus on this cultural and cultural things. Yes.
Thank you very much, Pani Diana. Pani Maria, Pani Diana from Poland. So we will speak in English if you don't mind. Okay? I think it's not a problem. Okay, maybe Pani Diana, do you want to say something additional, or we can go to our other speaker, next speaker?
No, I think I just thank you for having me here, and yeah, I think that's it.
Thank you very much, and we're really glad to see you on our conference. Okay, Pani Maria, would you like to, or maybe Pani Danilo, do you want to?
I've already subscribed you in Instagram, so you can subscribe. Like
I think I also do. I also
Okay.
will subscribe. Okay, Pani Maria, would you like to start your speech?
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Pan Artem, for this invitation to start my speech. Actually, yes, I was going to talk today about one of part of my research dedicated to U.S. veterans' benefits according to the GI Bill, 1944. And I wanted to present this topic here at the conference because I guess it's important for now in Ukraine to see what was going on with veteran affairs in other countries. And of course, it's not historical approach to implement such policies in Ukraine, but probably something important and very relevant could be found in what was going on in the United States after the World War II. This story actually starts a few years before implementing of the Servicemen Readjustment Act. It's formally name of this GI's bill. Story started when American veteran organization, American Legion, headed by John Stanley, started discussions about the need of upcoming policy for American soldiers who will return from the war, and that US government should implement for them variety of benefits, because based on previous experience that America had during World War I, it was a not satisfactory policy regarding veterans. They just had some direct payments during not very long time, and any other supportive benefits. And actually, that was one of the reasons when they organized some strikes and demonstration during the era of Great Depression, when the whole economy of United States was in poor conditions. So veterans also organized as a power that wanted some changes. In its turn, American government during World War II, headed by Franklin Delano Roosevelt, as we know, it was also another government than Woodrow Wilson, and with another vision of what can be changed in veteran policy and what can be changed in regarding the whole American society. Probably you know that they started tremendously social and economic reforms in previous war years, known as New Deal. So they were going to change policy regarding returning veterans as well. But originally their vision was based on the need to help veterans to find job when they return, and to help them survive in this intermediate period between their return from frontline and before they find job. So around 1 year funding for their unemployment. But this American organization, American Legion, was going for another politics. They did research, and later this research was also supported by Roosevelt's advisor, Anna Rosenberg, who went to European theater of war and made a few interviews with soldiers, with warriors, with people. And finally, FDR received at his table a huge report that showed that American defenders don't want just funding of their unemployment rate before they find jobs. They wanted something more. They wanted some norms, and especially in education area. That interview showed that more than 75% of soldiers wanted support of government in higher education section. So finally, taking into account this research and also planned by American Legion, FDR supported a bill that was voted in Congress in 1944, and so America had its GI's bill. And for me, it's also important with the names, because when I was a student and we were studying this story, not very deeply, something I knew, but we studied this bill as Солдатський біль про права. This is the name of Soviet tradition. It's totally incorrect, and I think as we now are developing our American studies separately and trying to not to link to that Soviet tradition, so it's important for us to change this name as well, because it was a Servicemen Readjustment Act, not about rights. It was like if you try to translate into Ukrainian more correctly, it's about військовослужбовців та їхня реадаптація до цивільного життя. This name is commonly known in America, GI Bill. It's because all American soldiers, American warriors, again, started from the tradition of World War I. They are known as GIs, not soldiers. So probably in some Hollywood films, you will see on, for example, food for American soldiers, this marks GI, 2 big letters. So I'm like supporter of this switch Ukrainian historiography, not use Солдатський біль про права, but or correct translation of Servicemen Readjustment Act, or just using this American tradition name, GI's bill. So this bill was tremendously legislation because it had a lot of benefits for veterans, and many of them used that, mostly of them. First of all, it was about education. It gave opportunity to every man who serviced at least 90 days during the war to use government support in funding tuition for university or vocational school or any option of higher education in US. And also these funds give opportunity to this veteran not to pay his cost leaves. So it was a huge funded, a huge payment. And it's important that people were not linked to concrete universities, and universities started to have some competition between them, because all of them wanted this funded from government. So they were interested in these new students, in veterans. So they encouraged them to, if their level of knowledge was not enough to start a bachelor's program, firstly, they had the opportunity to start some vocational school, and then more and more to become full-scale student as others. And that changed American higher education system tremendously, because before GI's bill, the system was rather closed, and only the wealthiest members of society could afford higher education. And because of GI bill, we had American scholars and professors who started their studying thanks to this reform. And one of them, for example, was a very known American strategist, Kissinger. He used these benefits after his service during World War II. Another part of GI bill that I'm researching is housing programs. This was about low-scale mortgage for veterans due to organizations, Federal Housing Administration and also veteran administrations. The issue is here that after the World War II, America experienced a huge lack of housing. Even it was America didn't have such a destruction like Europe in that years, but because of returning of veterans and because of upcoming baby boom and because of lack of housing in previous depression years, the first 10 years, this problem was very obvious for many people. So GI bill also tried to answer this question, this problem, and gave many ways of funding for veterans for their housing. So they could take this low-scale mortgage more than for 25 years, and what was more important, with zero first payment, because other people in America also tried to use this housing options with mortgage secured by the Federal Housing Administration, but only veterans could do it with zero first payment. And that also changed America because thanks to this benefits, Americans started to build now new their way of life in suburbs. It was also about this bought in mortgage small houses outside of big cities using your car. So it was also GBIL who changed education system and also housing in America. And that's why I think that this legislation was one of the most important legislation in American history of 20th century. And if we are returning to nowadays legislation, so just in 2015, America implemented another GBIL for it is, of course, is different from the previous. They continue this tradition to support their veterans. And for example, from the Vietnam War, more than 80% of veterans used these benefits that were proposed by GB. And now American soldiers know that they are protected by this legislation. They can think about these benefits after their service, and it can help them to take education and housing problems in another way with support of government. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pani Maria, for your deep investigation and interesting theme. Maybe someone want to ask something? Pana Danilo, please.
First of all, thanks a lot to Ms. Kravchenko for her presentation and such a detailed research. And I myself, as a reserve officer of the, can you hear me? Sorry.
Yes, we can.
Oh,
we can.
Well, great. A little bit freezing in my screen. I myself, as a reserve officer of Armed Forces of Ukraine, I'm a military psychologist as a reserve officer, and I'm interested in the question of whether the GI Bill somehow regulates the psychological care of veterans, or no.
Thank you for your question, Mr. Bessarabov. Yes, I predicted the questions about healthcare for veterans in terms of GI Bill, and especially about this psychological health you've asked. But yes, GI Bill had provisions for medical care, but to be honest, I especially didn't underline this in my presentation, because I think that what was proposed in this section was not enough. Probably you know that American healthcare system is very different from ours, and it's based on health insurance, private health insurance, and during the days of GI Bill was implemented in the second part of 40s. The same days, American society had a huge conversation, discussion, and I would say a battle over medical reform, healthcare reform, because American government headed by Truman wanted to change this thing that public healthcare was or absent or not enough. And that was also about veterans issues. So GI Bill gave provisions to protect veterans in some let's say, very immediate issues like injuries and when they needed some obvious medical help. But GI Bill didn't, first of all, gave medical insurance for covering issues like you've mentioned. So as for me, as I think this part of GI Bill was not far from ideal, and that was because of specifics of American healthcare system. They are still trying to fix it. They are still trying to reform this healthcare system. And Obama did a lot, so implemented this now in Obamacare, but then Trump made few steps ago. And there is still some discussion in American society. So yes, this medical issue is still need improvement, we'll say. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Pani Diana, you also want?
Yes, I would. One question, because we are talking about 1940s. right, with this GI Bill. So these are the times of segregation and Jim Crow laws. So
Yes.
I'm interested in the aspect of Black people in this, because we're talking of education and housing. So were Black soldiers completely excluded from these benefits? Do you know some, like, could you expand on this issue?
Yes, thank you so much for this important question, because it's really important to underline that Black soldiers were not excluded from legislation, but in fact, when it was beginning about realization of these benefits, you are right, this it was still period of segregation and Jim Crow laws, they were active, and so that also changed GI Bill. For example, some banks, some financial system options, they were not open for Black citizens, as well as some universities. But at the same time, only due GI Bill, at least to some universities, Black citizens had this possibility to start their education, because system allowed them to be covered by it. But in southern states, in some very infamous places, infamous universities, who were not ready to give opportunity to these people to be a part of their community, they still were separated. And so for now, we have such a history of so-called Black universities. So that were the first universities who opened their door for the GI veterans and used this provision. And in fact, that even enriched their communities because of these students. And also, we know the stories in housing as well. For example, what was I talking about this time of suburbs, when veterans took special mortgages to build their separate small houses outside of big cities. So that was not affordable for Black citizens, unfortunately. All these outside communities near big cities were white communities. In their turn, Black veterans still used housing provisions of GI Bill, but they used that for taking in rent or buying their dwellings in some public housing special districts. And that also was the reason of so-called emergence of ghetto, you know. So as it was born, this legislation was almost perfect. Not perfect, but it was created for, let's say, good things for well-being of veterans. But you are right so much in these questions, because in case Black veterans, it was for them some doors just were closed as usual.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Maybe, Pane Danilo, would you like to tell us a little bit about your topic?
Of course. Unfortunately, I will not be as... Yes.
You didn't prepare in English, yes?
It's not a problem.
Okay.
It's not a problem. Unfortunately, I will not be as brilliant as Miss Diana, so I will be without the presentation. But let us speak about 3 Mile Island. And my topic is 3 Mile Island, the detonation of American public consciousness. Since the beginning of the full-scale Russian-Ukrainian war, the problem of the safety of civilian nuclear facilities has intensified. And the relevance of interaction with nuclear energy is increasing. In today's realities, it is important to use foreign experience in the response of the population and the state to a nuclear incident. One of these is the accident at the 3 Mile Island nuclear power plant, so-called TMI-2 power unit in the USA. On March 28, 1979, among the citizens of Harrisburg, the capital of the state of Pennsylvania, rumors began to spread about malfunctions at the nuclear plant located on a small island in the middle of the main water artery of the state, the Susquehanna River. It's 4 o'clock in the morning due to a technical failure and operational error of the operators. The active zone of the TMI-2 reactor overheated and subsequently melted. During the week, specialized institutions managed to take control of the emergency power of the station, find the cause of the accident, localize it, and minimize the leakage of radioactive substances. Thanks to prompt and coordinated work, a very little amount of decomposition products was released, almost bordering on the norm. However, the main disaster did not occur in the building of the 3 Mile Island 2 unit. The capital of the state and its suburbs experienced a panic explosion. The city of Harrisburg did not have a strategy for actions in the event of an accident at the reactor. The people had little understanding of the principles of operation of the nuclear plant and the threats it could carry. The panic was psychologically superimposed on a deep emotional perception of the nuclear horror of the Cold War era, as well as on the cultural background created by the film China Syndrome, which was shown on the country's cinemas. People imagined that what was shown in the film was happening to them in reality. At first, an information vacuum arose around 3 Mile Island, which was filled by several parties at once. Local authorities and local media were the first to speak. The state's governor, Richard Thornburg, issued an advisory for those within 5 to 10 miles of the station to stay indoors, and for pregnant women and children within 5-mile radius to evacuate. This information, suggestive, not detailed, without additional explanations, quickly spread in the boiling chain of Harrisburg. Perceiving it, the town people began to doubt, is the accident really not so serious and there is no need to flee urgently? The result was the self-sufficiency of instinctive, uncontrolled and irrational actions of citizens. According to researchers' estimates, in the first week after the accident, Harrisburg and its surroundings left 100,000 to 200,000 of people, which led to significant losses, complete economic and communal disaster of the city. In pursuit of sensationalism and circulation of hot news, both local and American media began to publish unverified and unsubstantiated information. Despite the fact that there were balanced reports and scenarios of public actions, the duality of the media content itself sowed the public's distrust of rational approach. A few days after the incident, all America was talking about 3 Mile Island. Operators and liquidators of the emergency situation have already managed to give the first comments from the scene. However, the story of the accident by professional nuclear physicists required from the media both competence and correct perception of information from the primary source, as well as the ability to inform the public in detail and sort of popularly. None of these components, unfortunately, were fully sustained. The media even spread anti-scientific materials exploiting public fear. Harrisburg emptied. Production, services, and healthcare have stopped. This was a shortage of food, fuel, and medicine in the city as transport companies refused to take goods there. The media had to restore the positive image of the region, detonated by the distorted consciousness, dispel the myth of a large-scale nuclear disaster, trying to ascertain the usual course of events in the potential damage zone, joking about the accidents, initiation, the collection of charitable aid. A visit to the station by US President Jimmy Carter on Monday, April 1, 1979, played a significant role in balancing public fear. This had a positive effect on the return of temporarily displaced persons to their homes. The presence of the head of state at the station, even on April Fool's Day, reassured many citizens that the area around 3 Mile Island was safe. Although for some, the president's actions seemed like a staged way to calm fears. On the 10th day after operators regained control of the situation, State Governor Richard Thornburg lifted the evacuation advisory and declared 3 Mile Island crisis over. In the first week after the accident, a third force was added to the media disaster, the anti-nuclear movement. Even before the construction of the second unit of the TMI station, the non-governmental public anti-nuclear organization 3 Mile Island Alert was founded in Harrisburg. Its purpose was to oppose the expansion and operation of the station, as well as to promote the dangerous of the danger of peaceful atom. TMIA told the city residents about the threats of nuclear energy in a very emotional and one-sided manner. Being an outsider in public life in the immediate aftermath of the accident at a time of panic and lack of information, TMIA gained a great deal of public trust. In 2 weeks, when the population gradually began to return to their homes, rallies against nuclear energy appeared in Harrisburg. These rallies throughout the suburbs had a significant impact on the general context of the anti-nuclear movement in the country, which slowed down US nuclear energy program more than for 30 years. So the experience of 3 Mile Island obliged us to take care of reliable communication between nuclear energy and society to preserve what has been achieved, to accumulate international experience in the name of progress. Thanks for your attention, and sorry for mistakes of Google Translator.
Don't worry, Danilo. Thank you very much. Maybe do you have some questions about this problem? Interesting problem. Danilo, maybe
Let me ask.
Okay, please. Please, Maria.
Okay, I will ask only one question. Yes, thank you. Thank you for interesting presentation. I have one question, probably. Was this incident spread also in Europe, for example, internationally? Because I guess its media covering was huge, and I'm interested if you know some global dimensions of this, let's say, scandal. And I'm also thinking about it. How do you think, what did this history page show about American society? So 2 questions about international dimension of this problem and about American society. What do you think? What it showed to them? What problems were raised because of this? Thank you.
Okay, thank you for your questions. I will start from the second one. As for me, it shows the normal course of society, like American societies, other democratic societies, they are just normal. And this topic shows us the problems of communication between main actors and mass and publicity. And this is like crucial in situations of emergency, of urgent problems like nuclear disaster, for example. And like, you know, in Ukraine, there is a threat of nuclear disaster. We have to learn it as well. And the first question is about this movement, like in Europe or other parts of the world, or you asked about anti-nuclear movement, or?
No, actually, I asked about reaction of Europe on this incident, let's say. So if if you know about such reaction, of course.
I know a little. Europe, well, European countries and European media published materials with the headline, if I'm not mistaken, "Now we are all Pennsylvanians." So the feedback was given, for sure.
I'm sorry, what about USSR?
No information. Maybe in secret archives, maybe.
Maybe. It's interesting.
Okay, yeah.
Thank you very much, Danilo. Thank you for your interesting investigation.
Thanks a lot for your attention.
Pani Maria, would you like to express your opinion about your topic?
Yes.
Okay. Please.
Yes. First of all, I am thrilled to be here and grateful for the opportunity to speak. However, may I break this tradition and present my report in Ukrainian, because I prepared my presentation in Ukrainian.
Yes, sure, Pani Diana, don't you mind?
Thanks a lot. Okay.
Okay, please. Марія, ви можете використовувати так екран, будь ласка.
Дякую. Так, отож, тема моєї доповіді – особливості формування та розвитку руху життя темношкірих має значення, або Black Lives Matter. Взагалі цей рух став темою дуже активних обговорень впродовж 2012-2020 року, коли відбулася низка дуже резонансних вбивств поліцейськими афроамериканців. Деякі з них навіть стали такими національними символами, ось, наприклад, вбивство Еріка Гарнера, Майкла Брауна тощо. Ну і, власне, це підняло дискусії в суспільстві щодо існування інституційного расизму у структурах Сполучених Штатів. Зрештою, виникла ось ця організація «Життя темношкірих має значення», яка часто організовувала акції протесту і намагалася домогтися покарання для білих поліцейських за їхні вбивства афроамериканців. З огляду на це, цей рух став такою актуальною темою, і до сьогодні її активно обговорюють, оскільки піднімається багато питань і щодо порівняння цього руху із рухом за громадянські права 1950-1970-х років. Ну і також ще взагалі багато ідей, які висуваються цим рухом, є достатньо суперечливими, контроверсійними. Це саме ми можемо сказати і про методи. Отож, сьогодні я б хотіла зупинитися, як саме цей рух формувався, як він розвивався і яке він мав значення для американського суспільства. Взагалі, коли ми говоримо про рух життя темношкірих має значення, ми маємо зупинитися на дуже відомій справі штат Флорида проти Джорджа Майкла Циммермана, судова справа, яка дуже тісно була пов'язана із подіями 26 лютого 2012 року. Саме цього дня сталося вбивство патрульним добровольцем округу Стенфорд Трейвона Мартіна, 17-річного афроамериканця, і це підняло такі дуже гострі суспільні дискусії, оскільки судове засідання почало обговорювати, чи можна кваліфікувати такі дії Циммермана як самооборону. Зрештою, вирок суду постановив, що фактично Циммерман не винен, оскільки немає достатніх доказів про те, що він навмисно порушив громадянські права Мартіна. Ну і зрештою, було багато фактів із біографії самого Циммермана, які свідчили про те, що він не є прихильником расизму. Про це навіть доводили історики-афроамериканці, які, зокрема, казали, що, зокрема, Циммерман був засновником кампанії разом із бізнес-партнером афроамериканцем. Також він підтримував обрання Барака Обами на посаду, також ще він долучався до благодійних організацій, щоб допомогти афроамериканським дітям. Тобто, в цілому, було багато таких підстав, які свідчили про те, що Циммерман не має жодних расових упереджень. Але, тим не менше, ця подія стала таким приводом для народження руху життя темношкірих має значення. Оскільки саме ця справа, зрештою, змусила таку діячку, як Алісія Гарза, написати пост у Твіттері, потім поширити його у Фейсбуці, і цей пост висвітлював якраз погляди цієї діячки щодо цієї судової справи, і, зокрема, там містилася фраза про те, що вона виявляє свою підтримку темношкірим і, зокрема, вказує, що життя їхнє має значення і буде активно цей рух боротися саме за реалізацію таких прав. Зрештою, подруги Алісії Гарзи, Патріс Каворс і Опала Томеці підтримали її, вони фактично поширили ось цей допис і перетворили його на кампанію хештегів. Тут ми не можемо говорити про виникнення руху, ще до цього було трохи далеко. Власне, тут більше йдеться спочатку про те, що це була кампанія хештегів, кампанія в соцмережах, яка розгорнулася дуже активно на підтримку саме вбитого темношкірого. І, власне, тоді ми можемо сказати, що це стало більш такою темою обговорень для соціальних мереж, без жодних організацій, які зазвичай властиві рухові, але завдяки двом теж не менш резонансним вбивствам ця кампанія хештегів з часом перетворилася на дійсно такий досить потужний громадянський рух. Йдеться перш за все про два вбивства: вбивства афроамериканця Майкла Брауна та інше вбивство, яке було скоєне щодо Еріка Гарнера 17 липня 2014 року. Отож, почергово про ці вбивства коротко скажемо, що найперш за все дуже так збурила громадськість той факт, що Даррен Вільсон, який застрелив 18-річного афроамериканця у штаті Фергюсон, штат Міссурі, у містечку Фергюсон, був виправданий, і фактично таким чином він залишився непокараним, і це знову ж таки ніби так наштовхнуло на думку про те, що існує інституційний расизм у поліцейських органах Сполучених Штатів. Власне, це вбивство було досить суперечливим, оскільки за свідченням очевидців афроамериканців. Майкл Браун та його друг йшли проїжджою частиною, і коли поліцейський попросив їх перейти на тротуар, то зрештою афроамериканець заліз у машину до поліцейського і спробував відбити в нього пістолет, і зрештою це призвело до такої сутички, яка, на жаль, мала летальний характер. І враховуючи такі обставини, зрештою поліцейського було виправдано, але прихильники руху Black Lives Matter вважали, що це такий привід до існування інституційного расизму і почали активно це питання обговорювати. Навіть вони розпочали рейди свободи, які відбулися у 18 містах Сполучених Штатів. Тут, до речі, дуже не випадково була обрана назва, тому що рейди свободи – це одна з особливостей, один із методів руху за громадянські права попереднього періоду. І таким чином рух життя темношкірих має значення, почав заявляти про те, що, мовляв, зараз розгортаються дуже схожі події, що й були в 60-х роках у Сполучених Штатах. Можемо сказати, що це були дійсно масові акції протесту, в порівнянні з попереднім вбивством, яке не спровокувало таких акцій протесту. Це була справжня, така дуже серйозна подія для американського життя. Ну і зрештою в окремих навіть штатах, ось, наприклад, в штаті Міссурі, навіть потрібно було впровадити надзвичайний стан і використати поліцейські сили Нацгвардії, щоб приборкати ось такі акції протесту. Тобто бачимо, що рух життя темношкірих має значення, почав радикалізуватися. Ну і інше вбивство Еріка Гарнера, яке відбулося 17 липня 2014 року, теж мало багато в чому схожий характер, теж там, зокрема, було багато дискусій щодо постаті Еріка Гарнера і щодо дій, які він, власне, вчинив, що передували вбивству. Але тим не менше всіх дуже здивували дії поліцейського, який, власне, дуже суворо розправився з Еріком Гарнером. Справа в тому, що в останні хвилини життя в Гарнера стався серцевий напад, і він почав кричати «Я не можу дихати», але зрештою поліцейський це проігнорував. Знову ж таки, резонансна подія, всі почали ось так дуже активно вже тоді висувати гасло «Я не можу дихати», як одне із гасел руху життя темношкірих має значення, і знову ж таки почали ось так вимагати прихильники цього руху справедливого покарання для поліцейського. В даному випадку ми говоримо про поліцейського Даніела Панталео, який ось саме тут зображений як такий поліцейський, що ось тримає Еріка Гарнера і не дає йому дихати. Ну і, власне, усі події, фактично, вбивство Еріка Гарнера та Майкла Брауна і перетворили кампанію хештегів на рух. Тому що дійсно після цих подій, після таких масштабних організацій, вже тут можемо говорити про те, що рух було сформовано, виникли певні ідеї, виник певний механізм їхньої реалізації, і можемо виділити, що протягом вже наступного періоду загалом рух темношкірих має значення, використовував в цілому, життя темношкірих має значення, використовував в цілому наступні методи. Ну, по-перше, це, звичайно, були демонстрації проти жорстокості поліції. Тут я зібрала кілька випадків, які привернули найбільшу увагу, але, звичайно, їх було набагато більше. Йдеться про близько 30 таких випадків, які ось фактично призвели до активних акцій протесту. Також ще потім дуже активно члени руху життя темношкірих має значення розгортали і суміжні кампанії, дуже схожі висували методи, просто таким чином ніби формувалася спеціалізація цього руху. Ну, ось, наприклад, виникли такі допоміжні проєкти, як «Ми протестувальники». Ця організація здебільшого так вказувала, як потрібно боротися проти жорстокості поліції. Або, наприклад, ще був такий проєкт, як відображення поліцейського насильства, який займався документуванням саме таких незаконних дій з боку поліції. Також відбувалася кампанія «Нуль», яка ось, власне, представляла такі деякі погляди на реформування поліції, які б могли викорінити ось цей інституційний расизм. Тобто, в цілому, цей рух почав так вдаватися до такої кращого організаційного оформлення своїх дій. Ну, але безпосередньо разом з цим ми можемо сказати, що посилюється і радикалізація цього руху, тому що, ось, зокрема, невдовзі вже прокотилася така справжня хвиля вандалізму, коли представники цього руху життя темношкірих має значення, навіть почали псувати меморіали, пам'ятники, які були присвячені конфедератам. Там, зокрема, деякі пам'ятки були повалені, на деяких залишали ось ці написи «Життя темношкірих має значення». І це все сформувало враження про представників руху життя темношкірих має значення, як такого, що діє не зовсім в легальних межах. Ну і зрештою ще досить так часто самі афроамериканці, які були прихильниками цього руху, провокували поліцейських або здійснювали напади на окремі поліцейські відділки. І це також привертало увагу громадськості і свідчило про радикалізацію цього руху. Ну і зрештою ще одна така дуже резонансна подія, яка тут особливо так допомогла цьому руху дійсно радикалізуватися ще більшою мірою, припадає на травень 2020 року, коли було скоєно вбивство Джорджа Флойда, теж дуже схожа історія, яка зрештою так ніби дуже збурила громадськість через те, що Дерек Шовін, офіцер поліції, тримав коліно на шиї афроамериканця протягом 9 хвилин, і він не зважав жодною мірою на протести останнього, що зрештою теж привернуло увагу громадськості, оскільки було розповсюджено всі ці записи, які свідчили про це таке не зовсім законне затримання. Ну і зрештою на тлі такої ситуації саме на початку 2020 року починають навіть висувати афроамериканці плани реформування поліції, які були дещо незвичними для того часу, оскільки деякі афроамериканці, що підтримували цей рух, почали казати, що потрібно усунути фінансування поліцейських, тобто зробити так, щоб усі гроші, які витрачалися на поліцейські органи, скеровувалися на якісь інші реформи, наприклад, державного апарату, і таким чином було фактично використано ресурси від держави більш продуктивно, на їхню думку. Але ось таке гасло «позбавити поліцію грошей», воно не зовсім позитивно було сприйнято всією громадськістю, не тільки поліцейськими. Вже, наприклад, пізніше почало багато республіканців, демократів казати, що фактично таким чином буде втрачена можливість для будь-якого соціального захисту в подальшому. Ну і фактично щодо поліції там теж не все так просто складалося, тому що ось ця кампанія за те, щоб позбавити поліцію грошей, призвела зрештою до формування у Нью-Йорку ще одного руху, який був фактично опозиційним щодо руху «Життя темношкірих має значення». Йдеться про такий рух, як «Життя блакитних має значення», тобто йшлося про життя поліцейських, яке також має значення і також його потрібно захищати, якщо ми говоримо про суспільну рівноправність. Ну і зрештою цей рух був такого особливого поширення спочатку в Нью-Йорку, потім перекинувся на інші штати, і, зокрема, ми тут бачимо деякі акції протесту, організовані цим рухом. Ну і якщо говорити про те, як саме зараз американці ставляться до цього руху, то ми можемо сказати, що фактично цей рух «Життя темношкірих має значення» не має зараз такої великої популярності, спостерігається втрата популярності, особливо після подій травня 2020 року. Якщо ще напередодні підтримували цей рух, то зараз, на жаль, такої підтримки не спостерігається, і ми в цьому частково можемо звинувачувати і самих представників цього руху. Ну, взагалі виділяються кілька причин, які зрештою свідчать про те, що цей рух справді сам частково зумовив падіння свого авторитету. Ну, по-перше, окремі статистичні дані спростовують основні гасла цього руху. Ось, наприклад, були зібрані такі статистичні дані, які свідчили, що в період з травня 2013 року по квітень 2015 року, тобто впродовж ось цих 2 років, серед вбитих поліцейськими було 49% білих і тільки 30% афроамериканців. Тобто це фактично ставить під сумнів таку дискримінаційну тактику, яка використовується поліцейськими під час затримань. Ну і також ще однією такою дуже суттєвою вадою цього руху «Життя темношкірих має значення» ми можемо назвати її децентралізацією. Зрештою, прихильники цього руху вважають, що не можна мати лідерів, оскільки це псує демократичний характер організації, і через те структура цього руху значною мірою є горизонтальною, децентралізованою. Це одна з таких ключових ознак, тому що фактично, якщо говорити про рухи за громадянські права попереднього періоду, то там були достатньо визначні лідери, і в цьому прикладі ми можемо згадати і Малкольма Ікса, і Мартіна Лютера Кінга та інших. В цьому русі ми такого не спостерігаємо, знову ж таки, через ось цю децентралізацію руху. Ну і загалом цей рух, ми можемо навіть так сказати, що він значною мірою діє в таких досить нелегальних межах, не зовсім законних межах. Тобто, якщо ось попередні рухи, вони ще намагалися вдаватися до таких акцій протесту, які фактично були мирними демонстраціями, або фактично це могли бути якісь судові позови, то тут в даному випадку ми бачимо про посилення жорстокості, про випадки вандалізму, що псує загальне враження про цей рух. Ну, тож, якщо підсумовувати, то можемо сказати, що цей рух виник як така кампанія хештегів на підтримку саме для того, щоб було покарано окремих поліцейських, які фактично ось так не дуже, на думку представників цього руху, дотримувалися процедури затримання. І от такі діячки, як Патріс Калорс, Алісія Гарза, Опала Томеці, сформували ось цю кампанію хештегів у соціальних мережах. Пізніше, під час вже ось таких резонансних вбивств Еріка Гарнера, Майкла Брауна, цей рух був перетворений, сформований фактично, виникли ось такі методи, які дозволяли розширити діяльність, і фактично таким чином цей рух був досить активний впродовж такого періоду, як 2014 до 2020 року. Ну і, власне, зараз спостерігається занепад цього руху, що пояснює відсутністю таких гасел, які будуть мати значну соціальну підтримку, значну суспільну підтримку, і також децентралізованою структурою руху, яка фактично не дозволяє обернути цей рух на більш потужний. Так, дуже дякую за увагу.
Дуже дякую, пані Марія, and thank you very much for your also very interesting and actual problem investigation of this problem. Пане Данило, would you like to ask something about this? Oh, yes?
Yes, of course. І я, мабуть, перейду все-таки з солідарності до пані Марії на українську, тому так, і подякую так само і їй за чудову презентацію, чудову доповідь, і в мене виникло таке дещо крамольне запитання. Чи не створили власне, афроамериканці свою політичну незалежну якусь силу в межах політичного життя американського? Чи немає якоїсь саме от партії незалежної там від республіканців, від демократів, якоїсь такої от окремої сили, яка б позиціонувалася тільки із чорношкірим населенням, з темношкірим населенням?
Так, ну конкретно про партію не можу назвати таких ось найбільш могутніх партій. Є окремі такі приклади, коли в демократії підтримували шкірих. Ну, якщо говорити конкретно про цей рух, то теж там був період, коли, наприклад, ось представники партії Байдена дуже активно підтримували цей рух, і, зокрема, це було дечому так опозиційно щодо Трампа, тому що Трамп відкрито називав цю партію такими безвідповідальними людьми, які фактично псують громадянський порядок, і таке ставлення, зрештою, фактично призвело до того, що ось фактично такі партії стали, такі, власне, течії, які підтримували цей рух життя темношкірих мають значення, потім почали більше так підтримувати саме Трампа, коли мова йшла про якісь політичні вподобання. Але зрештою, ну, якщо говорити про позицію демократів, пізніше, ну, саме про позицію Байдена, то, наскільки мені відомо, то зараз значною мірою і демократи, і республіканці займають дуже схожу позицію, тому що, в принципі, останні випадки вандалізму, останні випадки жорстокості, власне, вони так дуже нашкодили репутації цього руху. І, ось, зокрема, ось щодо цієї кампанії про позбавлення поліцейських фінансування, це значною мірою така ось одна з основних причин, чому, зрештою, демократи почали не надто прихильно ставитися до цієї партії. Ну, але, звичайно, були приклади, коли окремі афроамериканські організації теж засновувалися, окремі з них діяли досить активно, але, ну, в принципі, зараз, ну, на сучасному етапі ми не можемо сказати, що ось існує якась конкретна партія, що так досить активно лобіює інтереси афроамериканців.
Дуже дякую, пані Марії. Дуже дякую. Марія Кравченко, ви теж хотіли, так?
Я хотіла додати невеличку ремарку, якщо можна. Пані Марія, дякую вам за вашу доповідь і ваше дослідження. Я не знаю, чи це ви готували лише як окрему доповідь на конференцію, чи, можливо, ви пишете там бакалаврську або магістерську роботу. Займаєтесь цією темою глибоко. Так? Так. Я питаю це до того, що якщо ви не були на пленарному засіданні, у нас там були гості з Нідерландів, і от тема расизму і демократії – це зараз є однією з таких тем, що цікавлять американістів у світі, і, в принципі, я послухала вашу доповідь, і якби ви перевели все на англійську і спробували свої сили отримати феллоушіп там десь у тому ж нашому партнерському інституті, я думаю, у вас би все вийшло. І коли мені довелось побувати на конференції американістів у Наймейхені, і там я теж чула декілька доповідей про БЛМ. До речі, це до питання наших цих термінів. тому що, наприклад, я не знала, що вже все настільки доведено до автоматизму, що БЛМ навіть не треба нікому нічого розшифровувати, тобто всі знають, що це таке, і от там було декілька доповідей, але вони, звісно, були теж студентські і були по більш конкретному якомусь напряму. Наприклад, одна доповідь була про те, як учасниці руху використовують своїх дітей, щоб презентувати у соцмережах необхідність захисту прав темношкірих, і як це потім може нашкодити дитячій психіці. Інша була теж доповідь про violence і про цей. І в цілому я вважаю ваше дослідження дуже перспективним і не таким, скажімо, традиційним, яке прийнято в нашій українській американістиці, тому бажаю вам усього найкращого з цим. Бажаю знайти якусь таку нішу, щоб бути першою і почати говорити про цю галузь у цьому русі. А також зверніть увагу на деякі свої формулювання, тому що якщо ви колись таки будете презентувати це там іноземцям і скажете, що це було не зовсім легальне вбивство, чи якось ви так сказали, воно може бути чи так, чи ні, воно не може бути не зовсім. І кілька таких от формулювань, що там те, що робив Мартін Лютер Кінг, це було одне, дозволене, а це, що вони дуже радикалізовані, вандалізовані. Тобто в аудиторії, скоріш за все, вам зустрінуться в іноземній аудиторії люди, які підтримують цей рух, а ще можуть зустрітися активні учасники, а ще можуть зустрітися ті, хто потерпів насильство, і вони вам точно скажуть, що так казати не можна. Тому я думаю, що ваша тема дуже перспективна і багатогранна, і бажаю вам у цьому всього найкращого. Дякую.
Щиро дякую і за побажання, і за поради. Візьму це до уваги. Дуже дякую.
Дуже дякую всім шановним колегам. I think our time over. Yes, our conference can be end. I'm really grateful for all of you for your participation in our conference, your interest in our conference, and I wish you all the best, peace, and I hope in the future, maybe in the next year, we also will able to meet each other, maybe even here in Ukraine, and maybe Pani Diana also visit us in Kyiv, if it will be more safe here. So thank you very much and have a nice day, and we will publicate all these videos and thesis of your of your topics on our website, but it will be maybe during the several weeks. Okay? Thank you very much and have a nice day. Goodbye.
Thank you, Artem. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Goodbye. Bye.